This mic actually really sucks. Dude, I'm gonna be giggling nonstop during this. It's a real-life narrator! On this channel? Yes. This video will be fully voiced as a sort of test run for other videos I have planned. There have been ideas I really wanted to do for years, like a video essay or some other type of long analysis video that I've been putting off because they would kind of suck to do without narration. So even though I really hate recordings and I'm going to have to listen to my own voice non-stop, I'm gonna give it a go since I can't really get anyone else to do it. One of the things I've noticed the most while playing Sky is how empty some places are. Have you ever been to one of those areas that seems like it was made for people to hang out in, but it's just completely deserted? There's a few chat benches, some interactable stuff, a nice atmosphere, but it's just you there. Now, a lot of this can probably be chalked up to server stuff, and it's entirely possible that whatever it is that decides when servers merge just thinks I should be quarantined off in my own instance. But I got really curious and decided to take this question to a few different socials for more info. Why? Because I love data. And genuinely, thank you all for your really helpful responses. I didn't think this was going to be something that a lot of people really cared about, but as soon as I got a good number of responses, I started looking for patterns. Interestingly enough, a lot of you submitted really similar places, so I was able to outline a few key sentiments the responses had in common. The number one response. This place has exactly one thing to do, and once you've done it, there's no reason to go back. For example, the largest submission in this category, the entire realm of Isle of Dawn. There's just nothing to do in Isle besides the introduction to the game. It looks like it's supposed to be the introduction to the game mechanics, but once you're done with this, there isn't much sense in going back. This is one I really agree with. I know the devs consider this the tutorial area, even though Aviary is now also the tutorial area. So stuff like dailies and events skipped on so new players don't get trampled by people doing quests. But I do still wish there were more reasons to go back. It's such a nice area, and Season of Passage really highlighted that with the nighttime version. But the two season areas in Isle sadly fall under the same category as the realm. For Passage, there were some additional mentions of festival tech causing people to avoid the area, which I get. Having areas crowded with all those honking things gets pretty overwhelming, so I haven't been back there. But when I revisited all these spots for this video, I found that even with festival tech, this spot was pretty deserted now. But even with that, people said for both Passage and Prophecy that they went for the quests and never really came back unless they needed candles or a winged light or something. Season areas have really bad luck in this category. Over in Prairie, Sanctuary Isles and Prairie Peaks had the same issue. But for Sanctuary, the main reason to visit actually seemed to be the wax events. You're supposed to relax and all, but instead it's kind of overrun by the geyser event and turtle. I always have to actively tell moths that there even is a sunset, because the geyser grandma stuff is way more used. Why is that last one actually really sad? Dude, this grind is killing our moths right now, man. Check on your moths right now and ask if they've seen the sunset. Prairie Peaks had a similar deal, but its main thing is something I'll save for when I talk about another season area. Also included are Forgotten Art. Someone said at least the name works well. The Moomin area, the Repository, and Crescent Oasis. I think this is unfortunately going to happen with every season that isn't Aviary. One, because a lot of these areas are not quick to get to. The wind paths and the collab hallway made a few season areas way more accessible, but we really need an expansion to connect Prairie Peaks to something, because it's like 3 levels down. I suspect this is also going to be the case for the Season of the Bluebird area, because for some reason it's not considered a collab, so it's not in the collab hallway with a teleport there. So once the season is over and we don't have that easy teleport from home, you're going to have to walk all the way to the elevated clearing. And 2, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but some of these areas were really only made with the season in mind. So once the season is over, the area is just scenery with not much else to really keep you coming back. Crescent Oasis had some really beautiful scenery, but most of it is just empty. There's an elevator in the palace, but that's pretty much it for interacting with the environment. But that gets us more into the next category. Crescent Oasis actually had another interesting type of sentiment I'm going to lovingly call the walking simulator. This is where Prairie Peaks comes back. Both of these areas are absolutely massive. This is the type of area where trying to get from one end to the other burns all your light halfway through. And then you have to walk the rest of the way, because there's very few places to recharge. Of course, that doesn't mean the areas aren't cool. They wouldn't have been submitted otherwise. The big spaces actually have way more spots to check out. Crescent Oasis actually has really nice areas, like the Hidden Glade and that cavern under the palace. And Prairie Peaks has a lot of cool caves and hidden nooks to explore. The Starlight Desert Windy area. Actually, what is it called? The Land of Tears! Okay, well, that area also fits this. You can't even really skip any time flying because of the wind, so it's probably the prime example for places you have to walk across. You do get rewarded for your efforts with a really nice starry sky and the campfire, as well as the memorial area. If I've learned anything from playing this game, it's that Sky players have very little patience when it comes to getting places. And if you've ever candle run with the type of person who burns all their wings in 2 seconds, which is me by the way, you know what I mean. But walking in Sky is actually kind of fun if you have some time to kill. It's definitely a really interesting experience. I mostly recommend this if you're not easily bored and enjoy partaking in some NPC behavior, although I do think the wandering around experience is a little more fun in Prairie Peaks. There's more distinct areas to explore than Crescent Oasis's open desert and single explorable building. Mini rant for a moment, but Sky has actually really let me down on explorable buildings. Like, do you have any idea how badly I want to go in here? Now, maybe from a game design perspective, they're like, okay, we're not going to decorate the inside because no one really cares about it and no one's going to go in there. I'm going to go in there. If any developers happen to watch up to this point, use me as an example, please. Do it for me. The next category is shortcuts. These spots are basically just used as a shortcut to get somewhere else. So, people are less likely to actually stop and hang out when they have somewhere else to be. This includes the Assembly Treehouse, used as a shortcut to different forest levels, the Wind Paths, used as a shortcut to different season areas, and Village of Dreams, which is used as a shortcut to the Colosseum. The Assembly Treehouse is one I really get on this list because, like the people who submitted it have said, it feels so much like an abandoned playground. There are swings and diving boards and a fun, creepy basement, but most of the time you just make a straight line for the doors to get somewhere else. It's also possible that not a lot of people have actually restored this area enough to hang out in it because of how hard it is to find people to do the quests. Wind Paths gets pretty much the same deal, where once you've done all the season quests, you don't really stop on any of the islands anymore. I like that Sky has its own little highway to different season areas, and it makes getting around for candle running and wax events way easier. But like the treehouse, the Wind Paths islands are decorated in a way where it feels like you were meant to explore and interact with the environment, and we pretty much just skip past all of that. Village of Dreams is one I actually did not expect to have in this category until someone actually mentioned the Colosseum shortcut, and I realized I have done that, like a lot. But total side note, what really kills me about this area is the absolute ball game slander I got in my comments. Nobody's playing that ball game. We have the hockey, football, whatever this is thing in the Village of Dreams. Like, I've legit never seen anyone use it. I'm gonna tell you a huge secret right now. And you don't even have to believe me or believe in my impact, but you don't even know how deep the ball game lore goes for me. In 2021, one of my friends had an opportunity to suggest minigames for Sky directly to the devs and asked if any of us had any ideas. And this was back when we had ball spells, but not really anything to use them for. So I said I wanted soccer goals for the ball spells. And if they do Valley Soccer, I want royalties of 1 candle. And they said, devs love the soccer idea. This was 1 year before the Skyball set dropped. The minute I saw it in beta, I knew those were my balls. Why the f did I write that? I I never did get my one singular candle. So that's my tragic backstory with that. But yeah, I do think more could happen with these areas so they're not just shortcuts to somewhere else. There are a couple of dailies like the hot spring one that encourage you to go to the Dreams Village, but nothing has really happened for the Assembly Treehouse or Wind Paths. The only thing we can really do as players is wait next to the Assembly quests, so more mods can finish that season and unlock the Treehouse Playground. Or wait next to the ball game, so more mods can ball. I left this final category for areas that are actually dangerous, because some of your underrated hangout spots were the complete opposite of cozy and chill. Number 1, all of Wasteland. Not even anywhere specific, just Wasteland. I see the vision for this one. Wasteland is extremely underrated. See, something I never understood about the whole Wasteland social space thing is how come we have all of those cool guys hanging out up top in complete safety? You should be down at the bottom, posing next to a krill or something. If I wanted to look cool, I would get in the sludge. Area 2, Treasure Reef. This would also be included in all of Wasteland, but this was submitted specifically because of the underwater areas that you can drown in. Yes, you can get a breathing mask after finishing Season of Abyss, but if you're anything like me and solely using bubble plants to survive down there, you know the air runs out pretty fast. So trying to get down to, say, where the Leviathan is extremely dangerous. But honestly, once you find a safe area, it's pretty nice. Now I can obviously see why no one is down there, but yeah, you know what? More people should be underwater. Area 3, the passages. Now, not all of them are dangerous, but you can only visit the night version of each area by starting a passage, and one of them pretty much forces you to keep moving with the safety bubble, or else you're lost to the darkness. So I would consider them right below the danger level of the trials. I know a lot of people, including myself, got pretty frustrated with the passages when they first released, because having to form a line or move a ball with a group of people who can't communicate with each other is literally nightmare material. So I get why these aren't as popular. But still, the nighttime areas are really gorgeous. So I agree, being able to visit these without having to join the passages would make for a really cool hangout spot. The final area is the first level of Eye of Eden. Specifically, this area after the Flying Rock Bridge. Now, why would anyone hang out here, you may ask? To watch poor moths who have never even seen the sunset get pummeled with rocks with a side of tea. 10 out of 10. You know, it's pretty obvious why some of these areas see less traffic, but it doesn't make them any less underrated to the people that enjoy them. Honestly, I'm glad these are on the list because it really shows people will have fun literally anywhere in this game, regardless of whether it was intended or how feasible it is to even be there. If your idea of hanging out is constantly being at risk of drowning to death, then I really hope there are more people who share your passion. Now I know what you're thinking. I've sat through this probably over 12-minute long video. What is the point? I've been doing videos about Sky for almost 5 years, and I think the negative comments that stick the most with me aren't anything pointed towards myself or my videos specifically. It's whenever I'm scrolling through my comments and I'll see something that's like, you know, I used to love this game and I got burnt out, or I used to love this game but the grind was just too much, or I used to love this game but I kept doing the same thing over and over and I found that there was nothing else to do, you know? And I've definitely been there. There have been times where I'm like, okay, I've tried the candle running, I've tried the routes, I've run the same track through every realm over and over and over and over and over again. But the thing that keeps pulling me back in is seeing this game through the camera lens. While I was shooting this video, I took my little camera around, I was picking different angles, I was taking pictures, I was taking video, and I actually had so much fun just filming B-roll footage. And it's something I've noticed when I record for videos. It makes you think more carefully about the background. I think most people, when they're walking around, they zero in on, you know, the candles and light, and now there's the colored dark plants everywhere. And so you're gonna zoom right towards that. But like when you're filming, it's different. When you're filming, you think of it as a whole. You don't really focus in on any one thing. You don't really zoom in on any of the dark plants or, anything. You see each area for its own uniqueness, its atmosphere, its color, its background, but it's more than that. So many of these areas were built with potential. They were built with intent. And we grind and we, collect, and we focus so much on buying things that we just walk past everything. When you have a game that has such bad grind culture that everything else gets overlooked, it feels like the game is cannibalizing itself. And that's not something that I think anyone really wants for Sky, It's not something that I think anyone really thinks that a game like this deserves, and yet it's happening. If you're going to have any kind of takeaway from this video, I encourage you to go explore. You can try visiting some of the places I've shown here, or you can try finding someplace entirely new. It's really up to you. There are tons of areas that I haven't touched on, and probably even more out of bounds places that weren't included in this video. But if you're running around just doing dailies or candle running, and you see a little place to sit, or a tunnel you can fit in, or some type of button, or really anything you haven't noticed before that someone clearly wanted you to find, why not go for it? When was the last time you did something other than grinding? When did you last show a moth the sunset? I want an explorable building. My nest is not enough. I want a building where I don't have to pay for the furniture inside. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have any candles. I can't afford like a sink and a bed, and I have a cinder block bed in my nest right now. I can't afford anything else.